It was a crisp autumn morning in Willow Creek, one of those postcard-perfect towns in upstate New York where everyone waved even if they didn't know you, and the smell of pumpkin spice wafted out of every other front porch. The streets shimmered with a golden-orange glow from the falling maple leaves, and the early sunlight streaked through neat rows of white-painted houses. At number 23 Elmwood Drive, Samantha Rhodes, 32 years old, stood in her bathroom staring at herself in the mirror, unaware that her morning pep talk was about to turn into something the entire town would talk about for weeks. Samantha was what her best friend Trina called a delightful mess of ambition and coffee stains. She worked as a freelance designer from home, lived in yoga pants, and powered her life with Dunkin' iced coffee and motivational quotes taped to her bathroom mirror. The mirror was one of those big rectangular ones you find in suburban master baths, framed with soft white lights and streaked from last night's toothpaste fight with her 6-year-old niece. On the edge of the mirror, written in black marker, was the phrase, "You can do it." Only this morning, as Samantha leaned in, bleary-eyed, to brush her teeth and whisper her usual self-talk, the mirror said it first. "You can do it." She froze. The toothbrush clattered to the sink. For a long moment, she just stared, half convinced the lack of caffeine was making her hallucinate. Then it spoke again, this time cheerier. "Don't give up now, Sam. Big day ahead." She screamed, not a horror movie scream, but the startled yelp of someone who's just seen a squirrel wearing a hat. Her neighbor's dog barked in response through the window. She dropped her coffee, splattering the mirror with a caffeinated Rorschach pattern. The mirror chuckled. "You might want to clean that up." That was the start of Samantha Rhodes' weirdest week ever. Over the next few hours, Samantha tried every rational explanation. A hidden speaker? Nope. A prank? Unlikely. Her friends couldn't even program their smart bulbs, and stress possible, considering her deadline for a logo design for the local diner was today. But the mirror kept talking, sounding suspiciously like a mix between her late grandmother and a morning radio host. When she finally left for the diner, she swore she heard it call after her, "You can do it. But maybe change your shirt. It's got toothpaste on it." The diner, Maggie's Breakfast Brew, was the town's beating heart, a small retro place with checkered floors, chrome accents, and an owner who'd been feeding Willow Creek since before Samantha was born. She slid into her usual booth by the window, laptop out, hoping to drown her thoughts in coffee refills and Wi-Fi. Her best friend Trina Holt soon arrived, loud as ever in a bright red coat and oversized sunglasses. "Girl, you look like you've seen a ghost that does taxes." Samantha stirred her coffee, debating whether to confess. "Finally, my mirror talked to me this morning." Trina blinked. "What did it say?" "Stop dating guys who text, sup, at midnight." "No, it told me I can do it. Like, motivationally." Trina leaned back, grinning. "Well, technically, it's not wrong." Samantha sighed. "I think I'm losing it." Trina laughed so hard the server, George, came over with napkins. "You're not losing it. You're just finally listening to what you should have been telling yourself all along." That thought stuck. As Samantha worked on her project, sipping coffee while locals drifted in, old Mr. Jenkins, who always ordered 3 pancakes but only ate 2. Ella Thompson, the teenage barista who painted her nails to match the season. Coach McAllister, booming encouragements to no one in particular. Samantha realized that maybe the mirror wasn't haunted. Maybe it was just her conscience, finally breaking through the static. By the time she returned home, sun glowing low over Elmwood Drive, Samantha felt lighter. The talking mirror incident didn't feel insane anymore. It felt oddly motivating. Until she walked in and found her neighbor Gary Mullins kneeling by the bathroom door with a screwdriver. "Gary, what are you doing?" He looked up, sheepish. "Trina told me your mirror was talking. Thought maybe it was some kind of tech prank." But he tapped the frame. "There's nothing in here but glass and screws." From behind them, the mirror spoke. "Gary, you missed a spot." Gary dropped the screwdriver. Samantha burst into laughter so uncontrollable she had to lean against the wall. It was the first time in weeks she'd laughed that hard. Maybe because it was ridiculous, maybe because it was a relief. Either way, she didn't feel crazy anymore. She felt seen. And that night, as she brushed her teeth and the mirror quietly said, "You're doing better than you think, Sam," she smiled at her own reflection and whispered, "Thanks. So are you." The next morning, Willow Creek woke up to a streak of early sunlight spilling over the hills, the kind of golden hue that makes even the cracked sidewalks look cinematic. Birds sang somewhere beyond the cul-de-sac, lawn sprinklers hissed in unison, and Samantha Rhodes stood in her kitchen, spoon halfway to her mouth, staring blankly into her cereal. The mirror hadn't spoken yet. She half expected it to yell, "You can do it," as she poured her coffee, but silence hung thick as pancake syrup. Maybe it had decided she didn't need it anymore. Or maybe her reflection was sleeping in. By the time she slipped into jeans, a flannel, and white sneakers, what she called her productive but approachable outfit, the town was alive. She could hear the buzz of lawnmowers and smell maple from the nearby diner. On her front porch, her neighbor Gary waved from his yard, holding his cat like a trophy. "Hey, Sam, mirror say good morning." Samantha laughed, locking her door. "Not yet, but I'm sure it's just saving its wisdom for later." Gary shrugged. "Maybe it's on vacation." She headed downtown, where Willow Creek's heartbeat pulsed, Main Street. There were brick storefronts, hand-painted signs, and the smell of fresh bread from the rusty Whisk Bakery drifting into the crisp air. Samantha's design project for Maggie's Diner was finally approved, and she was on her way to deliver the final files. As she crossed the square, she passed Ella Thompson, the teen barista, now handing out flyers for her school art show. "Morning, Ms. Rhodes. Heard about your mirror thing." Ella chirped. "Oh great," Samantha muttered, the legend spreading. Ella grinned. "It's cool though, like, maybe the universe is trying to tell you something." Samantha rolled her eyes good-naturedly but smiled anyway. Because, truthfully, since the mirror incident, something had shifted. She'd been walking taller, talking clearer, even making eye contact with strangers. It wasn't magic, it was mindset. Still, the silence bugged her. The mirror had been her weird, hilarious motivator, and now, without it, she felt like someone had unplugged her background soundtrack. That night, the moon hung over Willow Creek like a silver dime. Samantha curled up on her couch, Netflix buffering for eternity, a small-town Wi-Fi curse. Outside, the street was quiet except for crickets and the occasional car rolling by. Then, from the bathroom, soft, familiar, almost teasing, "You stop talking to yourself again, huh?" Samantha froze mid-bite of popcorn, then grinned. "I was wondering when you'd show up. I thought I'd give you space. But looks like you're still trying to convince yourself you're not amazing." "Hey," she protested, laughing. "I've been doing better. I even turned in my project early. Proud of you, but let's talk about that audition thing you keep avoiding." She blinked. "How do you? Wait, you can read my thoughts." "Sam, I am your thoughts. Just louder, sassier, and harder to ignore." She sighed, setting down the popcorn. "It's not an audition, it's a local art exhibit. And it's full of people who actually know what they're doing. Correction, people who just had the guts to show up." That one hit hard. The mirror had a point. She'd been sketching privately for years but never shown anyone her art. Not even Trina. Fear of failure, judgment, or worse, awkward small-town pity. But maybe the mirror wasn't here to tease. Maybe it was here to push. 2 days later, the community art exhibit opened at the Willow Creek Cultural Center, a cozy building that looked more like someone's oversized barn than a gallery. Inside, strings of fairy lights hung from the rafters, casting a golden glow over paintings, pottery, and handmade jewelry. A band of local dads played covers of 80s hits near the punch table. Samantha stood near the entrance clutching her canvas, a simple piece titled, Reflections. It was abstract, a blend of silver, white, and muted blues that shimmered faintly under the lights. The concept was literal and symbolic, growth through imperfection. Trina appeared in a whirlwind of floral perfume and sass. "There she is. Picasso with better hair. Trina, please don't." But too late. Trina had already waved to half the room, announcing, "This is Samantha. She talks to her mirror, and it made her famous." A few heads turned. Samantha groaned, wishing she could melt into the floor. Yet, something funny happened. People smiled. No mockery, no judgment, just warmth. Coach McAllister strolled by, nodding at her canvas. "Looks like progress to me, kid. You can't score if you don't swing." Even Gary showed up, holding 2 cups of cider. "Your mirror would be proud," he said with a grin. Samantha laughed. "Yeah, well, it better not start yelling compliments in public." But secretly, she hoped it would. By the end of the night, her painting sold. Not for much, just $50, but enough to make her cheeks ache from smiling. As she walked home through cool spring air, her heart felt full. Not because of the sale, but because she'd done it. She'd shown up. At home, the mirror gleamed softly in the dim light. She set her purse down and faced it. "Well," she said, "looks like you were right again. Told you, you just needed to trust the reflection." "Yeah, but now what?" I faced my fear. "Am I officially enlightened?" The mirror chuckled. "Hardly. You're human. You'll forget again. You'll doubt again. But you'll also keep trying. That's the good part. She smiled. Guess I'll keep talking to myself, then. You always should. Just remember, you're worth listening to. For a moment, she swore she saw her reflection wink. Then, the bathroom light flickered once, twice, and went still. The next morning, when she woke up and looked at her mirror, it was silent again. No voice, no whisper. But across the glass, in faint handwriting she hadn't seen before, were 4 simple words. Keep talking, Samantha Rhodes.
Daily happiness and motivation is hitting in. Like and subscribe.